right, boys. I believe we all know why we're back here today.
Ah, yes, to rank the latest entry in Saw's catalog, Saw X. I've been anticipating this for such a long while after my 4 viewings of it the other day.
And how many full-course meals did you consume on each showing? Do tell us.
Don't you start with me, Towers?
That's code for 6 meals per showing. Oh, fuck off, sleeptard.
Holy hell. Not even 20 seconds into this call and you're already starting with the cat fighting. Jeez. No wonder I was immensely enjoying my experience. My 2 back-to-back viewings of the movie in the theater felt like years since we were here and I had to listen to you old dunces argue. But anyways, yes, we're finally here to rank and review the 10th Saw film, and I'm glad this movie opted for an earlier release. The anticipation was eating at me almost all year.
Yeah, because Lionsgate knew the Five Nights movie would bend this movie over its knee and financially spank the hell out of it. So obviously they released it as early as it did so they could have all the fun in the sun as it could get.
We've still got a month to go until that comes out, you old fart. You can't say this movie was in any way inferior.
Retract your claws, Donald. I enjoyed my viewing of the movie as much as you did. I'm just saying Freddy's has the higher chance of making the most money this season.
Yes, I'm hopeful this movie will get its residuals as it goes. But as for now, we're here to finish the ranking list once and for all, gentlemen. I'd like to get the ball rolling with how we covered the movies beforehand with this one. What we did and did not like, and then give our general consensus with the tier we want the movie to go in.
Of course. This movie scratched the itch the few movies beforehand couldn't for me. For starters, it returns to the classic grungy, dirty look that defined the earlier movies in the series. Even in the opening scene with us following John in the hospital and the cancer support group, it brought me back to the non-trap scenes in the earlier movies and how bleak they were in tone.
Definitely. This movie had and executed all the staples necessary to create the perfect Saw movie. So much so that I firmly believe, and this might come as a hot take, I think they have finally created a Saw movie to finally rival the first one.
It's easy to see why. From the simple yet effectively designed traps, to the engaging personal story, to the alluring soundtrack, to what might just has to be the best performance Tobin Bell has ever given as the character of Jigsaw, it's no doubt one of the strongest entries we've ever gotten.
Of all the movies in the series, Tobin Bell really carried this one on his back. Putting the whole movie in John Kramer's perspective really gave me a whole different outlook on this world and its characters, if that makes sense.
That kind of brings into question, Joe. If Tobin Bell was able to pull off such a spry performance as he's fresh into his 80s, what's your excuse for your performance as a president?
I don't know. What's your excuse for not getting Mexico to pay for your bum-ass, fuck-ass wall?
What's your excuse for slipping and tripping damn near everywhere you go? Up the stairs, off a bike, even on a sandbag? How has this country not completely fallen apart at the seams yet with you at the helm?
Honestly, Donald, I could ask the same for you in your past 4 years as president and how you closed them out. We've seen what 4 years of Trump got us, and I genuinely hate to see how your singular Big Mac away from suicide looking ass would destroy the country with another 4.
Your scrawny ass isn't one to talk, Barack. I am the shining example of what peak human complexion looks like.
Me when I lie.
Yeah, like how you lied about those WMDs.
Good grief. Could we get back to the actual movie, please? We can talk about Donald's never-ending stream of hypocrisy later.
Fuck you, Obungus.
Anyways, it really felt like this movie finally got around to making itself a checklist of what fans did and did not like in these movies. And after narrowing it all down, this was the result. A movie that focuses merely on John and Amanda. And goodness was it amazing to see Amanda again after all these years.
After sitting with it for a good while the producers went on to call this new movie the new Saw 2, I feel as though this is the new Saw 3 of the franchise, as there are plenty of correlations as to why that is.
Interesting. Care to tell us why that is, Barry?
Well, for starters, this is the 3rd movie in this seemingly anthology line of films in the series that started with Jigsaw and then Spiral. Both Saw 3 and Saw 10 are both pretty lengthy, with Saw 3 at 1 hour and 48 minutes, or any other extended period of time depending on which version you watch, while Saw 10 reaches 1 hour and 58 minutes. There are little to no cop involvement in the overall story. John and Amanda's relationship taking the emotional core of the movie, and the plot as a whole focuses mostly on Jigsaw and his games he has his subjects in, plus the singular scene of Hoffman we get in both movies.
Oh, good God, was it so good to see my boy Hoffman again on the big screen after all these years. It really just wasn't the same without him, but now, after 13 years, he's finally back.
I still can't get over that one line he said in that post-credits scene.
I call that epic bad luck.
A very 2000s-esque line for sure. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. Let's back up a bit. Let's focus on the main plot as it is.
After so long of having movies where John has long since been dead and most of his scenes take place entirely in flashbacks, it really feels refreshing seeing him be an active force in the overview of the current predicament the characters find themselves in, even to the point where he openly shows himself to everyone and explains to them in person why they're there.
It must suck being the medical scam group. Imagine you're just doing your seemingly normal task and conning and financially screwing over people, only to find out your latest subject was the Zodiac Killer. That has to be a massive cosmic joke, or the fattest hand karma could ever slap you with.
No, Joe, we established that it was
Epic bad luck.
The medical scam group might be one of the most deserving to be placed in one of John's games, up there with Ivan in 4 and Anna in Jigsaw. More so in the case of the head of the scandal, Cecilia Peterson. All of them coming off as selfless, helpful, and all-around heavenly people, only for the reveal that they faked John's treatment to unfold. And we see their true colors, even towards at the third act, where Cecilia's true colors are on full display, and she's shown to be the selfish, evil person she is, going as far as to killing one of her subordinates, placing John into one of his very own traps, something I'd never thought we'd ever see happen in a Saw movie, and putting Carlos into that trap as a way to punish John. It gets to a point where John contemplates killing Cecilia up front. Has to be one of my favorite third acts in a Saw movie, up there with the third act of Saw 6, from the Voice Lab and beyond.
Now that you mentioned it, Barry, to follow up on your Saw 3 connections, I think this movie may have retroactively planted the seeds for Amanda's doubts in John's methods, eventually leading to her breakdown in Saw 3. Because here we have Cecilia watching all of her subordinates die off one by one, and as soon as Parker helps turn the tables, Cecilia kills Gabriella, sending Amanda into an emotional spiral, and brags about getting all the money from her con herself, showing clearly how John's teachings to his subjects don't truly work to a degree. So it's not just Eric's lesson in Saw 2 that failed. There had to have been more that showed how flawed John's message is.
Damn, that's honestly a surprising catch there, George.
Damn good catch, if I say so myself. This film may have a bigger impact on the world of Saw at large and its core characters than we thought. Now let's get to talking about the traps in this movie, because I do believe we have some pretty heavy hitters with this one, from the eye vacuum trap to the bomb wrists to the brain surgery trap. They became immediate household favorites for me as far as Saw traps go.
Don't forget the trap with Valentina and the wire saws. The tension was irking and the violence was well executed. Then, as the bone marrow was showing itself as it was transferred, it made me cringe in disgust with how gnarly it was. I haven't cringed in a tense in any Saw trap since the needle pit in the second movie.
I can't be the only one that thinks John was pretty petty when it came to Gabriella, right? I mean, her being involved in Cecilia's lie was bad enough, don't get me wrong, but her punishment somehow felt more cruel than the others. Especially what with using a whole entire heat ray of radiation.
I mean, it fits quite well in the first few movies where John was most certainly an asshole. Mark's game with the flammable substance in the first one, his whole shtick with rage-baiting Eric Matthews in the second film, laying out Billy the way Jeff's son was laid out when he died in the third movie. John has always kind of been a dickhead supreme. No amount of sympathizing this new movie gives us can ever erase that.
These were pretty solid traps all around, and I'm positive we'll be talking about them more often for years to come.
We should get to talk about the soundtrack for this movie. I firmly believe Charlie Clouser brought his A game for this one. He dipped his toes into experimental territory like he did the last few entries like Spiral, with tracks like Horror Show and Boss Wife. And he did the same here with tracks like Henry Hope, Walk Out and Tequila. Then we head back into familiar dangerous territory like Skylight and Hello Mateo.
The new action piece for this movie's Zepp theme after the build-up got me bricked up, can't lie.
Absolute ear candy.
Almost every Zepp theme is, Donald. Good to know Zepp X is no exception to the rule. I think we've covered just about all the positives we can list for the film. Now, what are some negatives you have, if you guys have any?
Aside from my thoughts on John's treatment towards Gabriella, can't say I have too many other things I disliked here. I really enjoyed my time with this movie.
My negative is somewhat a nitpick. It's that they didn't take an opportunity to use any archive footage as flashbacks like some of the older movies would do it. but I could see why they didn't do so, since it would likely take some viewers out of the interquel aspect of the film if they saw 2006 Tobin Bell in one frame and 2022 Tobin Bell in the next.
Which is funny because somehow John looked way younger in this movie than he did in the 2017 movie, which his scenes there take place before this. But aside from that, my biggest complaint is that Billy wasn't as utilized as much as he was in the movies before this. No speaking from him, not even his iconic laughter. Such a shame.
I suppose my big issue with the movie is that they didn't try to implement or work in nods to Dr. Gordon or even Logan Nelson in any way. They could have touched upon them a bit, given they were connected to John by this point. Maybe they couldn't touch on Logan's involvement since he was likely away at the war at the time, but they definitely could have at least given a nod to Dr. Gordon, at the very least.
You sure, Barry? You think they should have touched upon their involvements in some fashion? I mean, not a lot of fans were favorable of Dr. Gordon being one of John's followers, and fans definitely got tired of the surprise trope by the time Logan came around. So you think this movie would have improved had they been implemented?
Maybe they shouldn't spend entire segments dedicated to them, but just snippets of dialogue or nods to them so that they aren't entirely forgotten. It's now been 3 movies since Dr. Gordon's reveal. No talk or mention of him again. 2 movies since Logan's reveal. No forward movement on that even a little bit. I just don't want those nuggets of story details to amount to nothing in the long run.
Don't worry, Barry. I'm sure we'll get to touching upon those again in the near future, hopefully with a Saw 11 or maybe a Spiral 2 if they want to. We'll just have to wait and see.
Okay, maybe you're right. So, now that we've gotten all that out of the way, where do we think of ranking this, boys?
It's the most story-focused Saw film we've gotten in years. It has strong characters, raw emotion, a touching soundtrack, as well as a satisfying conclusion, the complete antithesis of shitty Saw 3D. So for that, I vote for S tier, no contest.
You know what? I'll agree with Donald on this take. This really does feel like a Saw film that fans needed, with favorite characters and a gripping story throughout. I'll concede to an S tier as well.
I third the notion of that S tier placement. Like you said, Barry, it does indeed rival the first one to an amazing extent. So much so that I wouldn't mind if you decided to get ballsy again and place it above the first movie on this list.
Well, George, it seems you've read my mind. Into S tier, Saw 10 goes smack dab above Saw 1. A satisfying entry in the series. Hands down, I can't wait to see where they take it from here.
And there we have it. Every Saw film ranked. So, are we finally done?
Actually, I was thinking we push the boundaries a bit and include some bonus supplementary material the franchise had along its growth and success. I was hoping we can get to ranking those as well. Bit of a bonus lightning round kind of thing, if you guys don't mind that is.
Oh, so we'll be discussing the shorts, comics, and games?
Pretty much. Shouldn't be too much trouble, right?
I suppose not, though I suppose we're going to get really into talking about the video games.
Shouldn't be too much trouble. Let's get on with it.
All right, now first up we have the Saw Proof of Concept short film, or as it's most commonly known amongst franchise fans, Saw 0.5. What do we think, gents?
A clear-cut S tier, no doubt about it.
Of course, without this short film, we wouldn't have the films we've gotten. Saw wouldn't have gotten its 2 cents over the years if it weren't for this short.
Agreed. This short film kicked the doors open not just for Saw, but for James Wan and Lee Whannell's careers. We have this film to thank for everything Saw and this duo have given us over the years. Its goodwill is nothing to be scoffed at. Slap it in S tier.
Wholeheartedly agree, gentlemen. Saw 0.5 paved the way for James and Lee to give us the theatrical film which gave us the juggernaut of a series we would wind up getting. And for that, its placement in S tier is more than well earned. Now, up next, we got the Saw Rebirth mini-comic. What are our thoughts?
It's a nice read, though not much to write home about. It did a nice job depicting John's early life and his pre-Jigsaw killer nature. It's a nice little nugget of media for die-hard collectors. I'm much comfortable with an A tier.
Agreed. It just plants the nuggets of story details that Saw 2 and 4 would eventually unwind and adapt later down the line.
I haven't read this comic in so long, so I can't say much input on the matter currently. I'll just leave it to you guys.
Yeah, it's just a nice bonus piece of Saw media that franchise collectors can get their hands on. It does a good job developing John's background and deep diving into his psyche and view among other characters, such as the victims we see in Saw 1. I'll be comfortable placing it in A. Next, we got the Saw 1 bonus feature Full Disclosure Report. Again, it's a nice little world-building nugget in the overall view of Saw, but it too is nothing much to write home about.
Yeah, it just recaps the events of Saw 1 in news format, while planting the seeds for Saw 2 with an appearance from Eric Matthews. I wouldn't lose sleep with this being put in B tier.
I'll second that B tier placement. Sure, it's nice to see how the media reacts to the main plot with Dr. Gordon and his family being targeted by Jigsaw, and everything surrounding the game, but it's nothing quite too groundbreaking.
Again, good for lore, but nothing super special. Smack it in B tier.
Alrighty then. Into B tier, the full disclosure report goes. Next up, we got the Saw 2 bonus feature, the Scott Tibbs documentary, or video evidence of Adam having shit taste in friends.
At first, I didn't mind too much of it, but now I see the gold in this little feature here. Scott shouldn't be as entertaining as he is, and yet he surprised me quite pleasantly.
Yeah, he comes off as one of those douchebags one can't help but vibe with every now and then. I think it'd also be up for debate that he may have the capability of being a possible copycat in of himself, what with that fire axe trap he made.
You think he would be, but then he chooses to trap himself and his cronies, just leaves him to his fate. Hence why not everybody can be Jigsaw. But we didn't exactly see his end, so maybe he's still alive out there? Who's to say? But anyways, I do have much more appreciation for this short now than I did upon first viewing. Scott was definitely entertaining, and the small story told here is why I say it goes into A tier.
Yeah, it's a nice nugget that most fans can definitely vibe with. It's not a huge necessity to go through when you're binging the whole series, but a nice addition with some pleasant cameos thrown in. So into A tier, the Scott Tibbs documentary goes. Now, as I'm sure we all know, no 2000s movie franchise is ever complete without a movie tie-in video game, and thus the Saw series became no exception to that rule. So here we can discuss Saw, the video game released in 2009, same year as Saw 6.
Kind of a mid-experience, not gonna lie. The combat felt finicky, and the minigame traps and puzzles felt like either padding or mind-numbing. The 26th time I see myself with another gearlock puzzle, I just let out a tired sigh.
I didn't think it was too bad, though it has been a long while since I've actually sat down and played it. Last time I played it was back in 2014, back when the first movie was getting re-released for the 10th anniversary. But even then, I don't remember having too much of a blast with it.
You and Obama sure were having a real blast with Yemen hospitals, though, so I can see why it wasn't much appealing to you, Joey.
Not as fun as ordering your cult of a fan base to storm and raid government buildings, right, Donald? Yeah, sit your queso-looking ass down.
That's disrespectful to Queso Barack.
The best aspect of the game was the ties to the other movies, as well as building up more character for Detective Tapp, since his character was pretty short-lived in the original movie. But everything else, though, was very hit or miss.
Yeah, I won't lie. There was a ton of missed opportunities for a branching storyline with this game, with the choices we can make, what with either trying to help the subjects with their traps, and if letting them live or die actually having an impact on the game's outcome. Instead, we're just forced to try and save them and go into that trial and error over and over again.
It also doesn't help that the minute they get free, we get told fuck you to our face for 2 minutes before whoever we save fucks right off.
Yeah, that I remember not being a good aspect of the game. I thought Jigsaw's games were supposed to leave you grateful for life. I save yours and you tell me I'm a massive dickhead? Who thought that was a good idea?
Honestly, I don't really quite know. The game has some good spots here and there, but its blemishes really hold it back from being a real 7 or 9 out of 10. Which is why I'm very much feeling a C tier for the game.
It's nice that Tobin Bell was able to lend his voice as Jigsaw for the game, but there wasn't much else about the game to really wow me. I didn't have a bad time with it, I just felt pretty underwhelmed with it. Even then, that wouldn't be enough for it to be an F, so go ahead with the C tier.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue against the game being in C tier. Its blemishes hold it back from really being something special.
Yeah, me neither. Go ahead and stick it in C tier. Just missed opportunity after missed opportunity.
All right then, C tier for Saw the video game. Now here's a real downer to end our Saw legacy tier list on. Saw 2, Flesh and Blood, released in 2010.
Oh fuck no! We let the first game slide, but this was just diabolical.
Yeah, that alone should tell you all you need to know about this one.
2010 was just not a good year for Saw all around. Any coincidence this game came out the same year as the worst Saw movie?
In before Sleepy Joe goes all, actually it wasn't that much of a stinker, guys.
Nah, my memory of this game isn't all that well, but even I can remember this game was just not it.
Where do we even start with this one? It just seems like they just doubled what most didn't like about the first game and somehow made it even worse here.
They were probably thinking, what was the first game's really lacking? Oh, I know, QuickTime events. So they sprinkled some beyond the door traps to everything else we could come across. A chase sequence? QuickTime event. Sudden floor jump? QuickTime event. Every single combat encounter? QuickTime event.
How did they make an already janky combat system even more flawed in design? 1 step forward, 3 steps back.
Also doesn't help that they go through trial and error to save a random character, which is also somehow worse than the first game, and they still tell you to go fuck yourself after saving them.
They even tell you even while you're trying to go through the trap, Like Carla in that elevator trap, calling us a moron after moving one of the number keys one singular time. I just firmly believe that's Konami telling you what they think of you through that.
Well, fuck you too, Konami, giving us a fantastic demo in the form of PT, only to not only cancel that game, but to remove it entirely off the PlayStation Store.
Rest in peace, PT. You died so young.
Okay, all the janky QTEs, bullshit trap segments, and questionable writing choices aside, what are some actual positives we can lob to Flesh and Blood? Wow, really?
Well, it was nice getting more expanded background with tap via notes and audio logs, but even that wasn't enough to salvage this mess.
We do get an appearance of John Kramer in the flesh, but even that wasn't enough as well, as it feels most of his appearances are scattered few and far between.
Starting to sound like a broken record, but I genuinely don't remember all that much about this game to warrant a few positives. If there is any, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
The only positive I have is the decision being made of who lives in the ending, depending on whether or not Campbell survives his final test at the start of the game. The decision being made at the very start, that was cool stuff. But if you really badly want to do the other ending, you gotta trudge through 6 or 8 hours of shit to obtain that ending, which personally doesn't feel all that worth it. Just look up the other ending on YouTube. It's one playthrough too many.
Now that we've gotten it all out there, where do we think of placing this game?
F tier!
Utter dookie. If Saw 3D wasn't enough, we got this for double the downer note for Saw to leave off on back then.
Please, if we ever get a new Saw game, please make it choice-oriented. So much untapped potential for a Saw game, with a branching storyline with a variety of directions to go.
One can only hope, Joseph, but here we have it. Saw 10 ranked, as well as every piece of Saw media. I feel pretty good about this one, boys.
Pretty good list. Even better now that we have it in full completion.
Excellent list all around. I'll admit I had a pretty good time doing this with you guys.
Same here. Hopefully we get around to doing something else Saw-related soon if the viewers are possibly up for that.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. You know that. Maybe we could possibly dip our toes back in the first game and see if we were harsh on that, one of its C placement, but that's up for the viewers to decide.
I'll have no problem doing the first Saw game, but I'd rather much Joe miraculously ends up running a third term before I ever allow myself to play dog water, butt juice, booty cheeks, flesh and blood.
Yeah, platinuming that game was certainly one of the experiences of all time.
All right then, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I suppose we're all settled. Had fun doing this with you, gents. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Bro thinks he's Scott Cawthon. I'm dead.
No, Sleepy, unfortunately your old ass still breathes.
Oh, eat a plate of shit, you oversized spray-tanned orangutan.
Good fucking grief. I'm gonna go do pottery with Laura. See you clowns later.
My God, we're so screwed as a nation. I'll just leave you girls here to argue some more about your marriage.
Going much better than the one with you and Michael Humberry.
Fuck you too, Don. Good night.
Alrighty now to get my DoorDash order of quadruple whoppers later, Sniffy Joe.
Fucking dick.